right. All right. Well, welcome everyone to episode 3 of the VibeCoders. Jordi and I have an amazing show today with some spectacular guests. We have Monica, Drake, Will, and Charles. It's going to be an amazing, fun-filled day and show. I hope that everyone is tuned in. Grab the coffee, the popcorn, and get ready for some amazing stories and information. Jordi, over to you.
Hi, thank you guys. I'm very happy to see you, all of you. You are like the stars of page 44 in the Discord. I saw you guys like the 18 fixing, resolving everything for everybody. Like the prompt or what I do if everything. So more than I speak, I want to the people know who you are, who is behind this Discord channel or this support. And I want to start with this specific question. Let's start with Monica, and after Will, Drake, and we start live. So my first question is, what were you doing before all this vibe coding AI era, and how you get into that? How you get into base? And now for you, what is the feeling to be the community leader of 66 crazy vibe coders all around the world, thinking different, and what is that experience for you? And after I make you another question.
Yeah, perfect. How's my audio? Sounding good?
Perfect.
Awesome. Well, so I'm Monica Rodriguez. I joined Base a month ago, which feels crazy. I think today's my 31st day. And I am a community programs manager, which is similar to what I was doing prior to coming on at Base. I worked at a company called Honeybook, which was a CRM for small creative businesses. So think of like anyone in the wedding industry. That was like our bread and butter, like photographers, caterers. You've probably signed, if you've gotten married, you've probably signed a contract that was sent through Honeybook.
Thank you.
So, and through that, I met so many amazing small business owners. The point of our system and our CRM was to help these people who were a team of one. They were just people who had a vision and a dream and were like, I'm tired of the corporate world, or I want to do my creative thing and start a business that way. And so I met so many of these incredible people who had these incredible stories, who had these very non-linear trajectories through life, who were building something for themselves that wasn't necessarily the norm. And it's a very lonely feeling being like a small business owner, especially when you're just a team of one, especially when it's like maybe a digital service. And so I got really attached to those kinds of people who want something different for themselves and are betting on themselves. And so when I came to Base, like when I learned about Base, I'd actually used it in years prior, but then my company actually had a subscription to Lovable, so I was using Lovable. So I know both. And yeah, I learned about Base and was like, these are kind of this is the same sort of people. The same people betting on themselves, wanting something different, trying something new, and really experimenting and going all in. And it's such an easy community of users to love because of that passion that's there. And so I'm really excited to, be running this ambassador program, growing it, tweaking it, and making sure that it's, serving the goals that I want it to, which, on the builder's end is highlighting you and your businesses and your successes and making sure that you do feel supported and that you're able to accomplish whatever dream it is that you set out when you started vibe coding.
That's amazing. Sam, you have a question for Monica?
I have a bunch, and actually, I had no idea that you came from that background. I'm actually in the catering industry. So for the past years, we've actually dabbled in thinking about going to Honeybook or different types of CRMs. It's actually kind of one of the main reasons one of them why I started getting into vibe coding is trying to figure out different fixes for my parents' catering company. Just because I use this analogy a lot. I'm sure everyone who ever listens in is going to hear me say it a bunch. But today's, or at least the old software before AI, it's like purchasing a Porsche to go to the grocery store. It's unneeded. It's super expensive. But when AI started to come out and all these other systems started to become more streamlined, I really adapted to that, and I wanted to start building. Sorry, long story short, I just think that that's awesome. Coming from HoneyBook to Base, what has been like the biggest transition point for you? What has been similar, different?
Yeah, you know, I loved my time at HoneyBook. I met so many amazing people. I really believed in the product. I still do. But you're not wrong that with vibe coding, these CRMs are kind of in a tough spot. I don't think it's necessarily a super immediate risk. You know, I think all of us who are in like urban areas or people who work at Base, like everyone I think we interact with is like, oh, AI, like it'll handle this. But, you know, I think we forget about the rest of the country and the rest of the world who isn't quite there yet, and who just aren't, you know, for whatever reason, whether it be like, I hate AI, or they just don't feel competent. So I still think there is a place for these CRMs, for now at least. But I totally agree that Base 44 can create a great CRM. But it takes work, you know.
Mr. Charles, I want to hear your story. I believe that you were a coder before the VibeCoders thing. So I also want to know what were you doing before all this base lovable thing? And I want to know exactly the moment, because I believe that all of you guys were a little bit like coders, vibe coding. So I want to know what you were doing before and what's happened the moment that you say, okay, I'm going to try this. What's happened? Please, Charles.
Yeah, sure. So my story is a little fun. So I was originally going to college. Well, so I've done a lot of things. So I originally was an EMT, so like a paramedic. And then I decided, well, can't really raise a family on that kind of salary. So I went back to college with a focus in game programming and design. And as I was going through it, within my second year, I had to take an introduction to computers course, and I was super pissed because I had to pay for it, and it was the dumbest thing ever. But in that class, they did a tiny little segment on HTML and CSS, right? And I immediately fell in love. I'm like, oh, this is awesome. Instant gratification. I can change something here, refresh the page, voila. So then I ended up dropping out of college and teaching myself using Udemy, everything I know, and now I've been a software engineer for 14 years. I'm still an active software engineer. I work for Spectrum, also known as Charter, for anyone that knows. So, fun fact, if you go onto the Spectrum website or app, every button you see, card, list, I built all those. And I maintain all those, so that's pretty fun. Little fun fact. It's not glamorous, but yeah. So I do that. Oh, I forgot to mention, somewhere in there, I also quit being a programmer and joined the military. That was really odd. Ended up breaking my hip in the Army. So then I went back to programming. So that was a weird time for me, super weird time. But yeah, so I wasn't ever really hesitant of AI. I kind of knew the powers of it, and I'm kind of a dive in headfirst kind of guy. So I stumbled upon Base 44 I had kind of started working with AI before that with like an Obsidian server and Notion and all of that jazz. That was my first real introduction to it. And then I'm not sure how, but I stumbled upon Base 44. I was like, oh, this is super sweet. So then I just started vibe coding stuff, and I was like, okay, there's something here. And then I joined the Discord, started helping people. Honestly, I have no idea why they made me a mod. I don't know what they saw in me, but they did. Sammy, for some reason, loved me, and so did Sam. I have no idea why. So the rest is history. Now I'm just full-fledged. The really cool thing is, though, is you are right. Most developers that are naturally taught or went to college are very hesitant of AI. And I'm not quite sure if it's more along the lines of they're afraid their job is going to be replaced, so they push really hard against it, or they just don't understand and they're hesitant of like, oh, it's going to break all my code. For a long time, Spectrum Charter was very against AI. They have since changed, and they kind of did a 180 pivot. I think they're kind of forced to keep up. So now, even at Spectrum, I use AI all day, every day. We use Kiro, which is great. I mean, it kind of streamlines development for us, so I can take a Jira ticket that's written out with all the standards that needs to happen for this defect or a new feature, plug it into Kiro, which is basically running Claude Opus, 4.8 now. And it kind of just does it all for me. It's not great. It really struggles with massive code bases, and I think at Spectrum we're up to like 4 million lines of code and pushing. So it really struggles like understanding the whole gravity of what we call the mono repo. So there's still a lot of limitations, but I'll tell you what, things that would take me a couple of days now take me about an hour to just shove it into AI. Hey, I need analytics for this feature call. Boom, done. And it's done within, maybe 5 minutes. So.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
You have an amazing background. I'm curious, what was that aha moment for you, whether it was AI or base, through your trajectory leading up to here, where you just decided to make that pivot into this space? Like, was there just like a moment?
Yeah. So normally when I'm learning a new programming language, whether it be like Python, C++, C#, doesn't really matter. I always start by building a text-based RPG in the console. I don't know why, but that really helps me learn a language. So I did the same thing with Base 44, and it did it so fast that I was like, okay, this is the next big thing. I still don't think it's the next big thing for like how it's advertised. Oh, mom and dad can make their app, and the next big thing, right? It's not there yet because there's a lot of loopholes, but for me, that was my aha moment, that I knew I could take my software architecting skills and really push the limits of vibe coding in general, or in Base 44 in particular, and make it do exactly what I want in a fraction of the time. So,
thank you.
Will, I want to hear your story. Also, the same, what you were doing before, what happened the moment where you hear about base, and now where you are as a moderator, expert. Tell us about you, please.
Can't hear you.
I think you're in mute, my friend. You are there, my friend? So we can continue with Drake. The same question, and let's wait until we'll have this mic done.
Oh, great. You guys can hear me, yeah?
Perfect.
Unfortunately, yes.
So I always preface whenever I talk about, vibe coding in general, I always love to highlight that I don't have any formal educational background. So I never went to college myself. I went straight into the workforce after high school, but I was always, infatuated with technology. I was a gamer kid. I'm 26 years old, so the whole gaming aspect is still very fresh to me. I grew up with video games. So what do you do in the workforce whenever you're 18, you don't know what you want to do with your life, and you didn't go to college? You work at Best Buy. Because that's the pinnacle of technology at that point.
Okay.
So I spent the first couple years just doing the ins and outs of sales. Hey kid, do you want to buy an Xbox? Do you want to buy a PlayStation? Do you want to buy this Wi-Fi router? Oh, what computer do you need? And that only scratches my brain only so much for so many years. So ultimately, I still didn't know what I could do in this world without a formal education. So I just rose through the ranks there, and I became a manager at Best Buy. And I thought, this is the peak. This is the most that I'm ever going to do with my career. I have a title of manager at a company that I love. This is the pinnacle of what I can do. Just wasn't happy with the sales portion of it anymore, so I swapped to doing Geek Squad. And I was like, oh my God, now I'm real. I'm doing things. So you sit back there, you're doing data transfers, you're doing account recoveries, and I'm thinking that I'm now in the trenches of the technical world. I was very wrong. I was scratching the surface. So overall, then I just, Best Buy as a company, I was no longer interested in, but I still use my managerial experience, so I hopped over to other big box corporations. So manager at Best Buy, manager at Target, managers at a Kohl's. I hopped around for retail locations, kind of just not knowing what I was going to do with my life. When you're that young, you really are just chasing whatever the biggest paycheck is. Then I got in contact with a person I used to work with Wix, or used to work with at Best Buy, saying, hey, come to Wix. And I had no idea what it was. I knew what Squarespace was. I've heard of Wix before, slightly, via oh, have you ever used this? But I never looked into it. So I was like, all right, gotta go Google this for 10 minutes before I have this interview in 30 minutes. I go through the interview, I get hired on at Wix. That was almost 3.5 years ago. I worked on Wix, which, if you guys don't know, is the parent company for Base 44, for viewers and listeners. Was there, and then all of a sudden I got 3 years into there, and my team manager comes to us and they go, hey, just so you guys know, this new opening is going to be coming in. It's for a technical solution specialist for Base 44. I go, I don't know what that is. And they go, well, look it up. We just bought them for $80 million. So I look it up, and at this point in Wix, I was already using AI at this point. So, even though I consider myself really good work ethic, I'd be silly to not have AI simplify everything in my life for me. So when I was on Wix, I was already having AI simplify all my workflows, all my different processes, even writing my responses to users for me. The AI had learned my voice by that point. So I was infatuated with AI, and when you say, hey, do you want to go work for this AI company that we just bought for that much money and be a part of the founding team here in the US? I was like, yeah, I'm going to hop on that right away. So I do the application, I talk to all the new leads that they brought over to Base 44, and then I started that almost 8 months ago now. So I've been with Base for about 8 months. I am a part of what's considered the founding team here in the US office. But I would say that I loved Wix so much, and obviously at the end of the day, they're still who I work for, in a sense.
Sorry, too soon.
But I love them so much, and but I have to say I don't regret my decision to make the jump over to Base a day in my life. It's opened up so many opportunities for me to actually be now in the trenches of the technology world, working on so many real aspects of software development, full stack development. I've had the opportunity to now go to colleges on behalf of Base 44, spreading what Base 44 is, recruiting college students to say, hey, come work with us. We want your talents here. being able to go into the Discord now and host office hours and being able to talk to, thousands and thousands of users on a daily basis about what the product is, helping them with the product and just seeing what they can build. So overall, you get this 18-year-old kid who thought that, retail technology was going to be the most they can do, and now, I'm helping hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of users on a daily basis with their apps, their software, and really making dreams become reality, and that's very rewarding to me.
I love your story, man. I congratulate you, man. Will, you have the mic, I believe, so we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Ah, lovely. So tell us a story, man.
Oh boy. Yeah, so before I became the bearded VibeCoder, as you see before D, I ran a marketing agency for about 4 years. Digital marketing, we did pretty much every service you can consider. We, from web design, social media marketing, SEO, digital advertising, you name it, we did it. Web design, we would build custom plugins. Sometimes we built custom CMS systems, stuff like that, if someone didn't want to use WordPress or any of the other ones out there like that. And then before that, I was doing search engine optimization for about 6 years. And then before that, I was working full-time in-house as a senior marketing manager for a high-end classic car restoration company. And so I got like 16 years of digital marketing experience that goes back on that I won't bore you with, but that's pretty much where a lot of my expertise was. And we, on and off development, going way back to when I was like 11. And then Google decided one day that they were going to update and show us this new thing called the AI generative search. And I'm like, well, that's going to kill one of my services. And then, so we started slacking back on SEO work, and then we ran into one of those really annoying Base 44 YouTube ads that seems to haunt you in your sleep. And I decided to give it a try and jumped on it. I was like, okay, now this is cool. And then I joined the community to kind of learn more about it, and I met Sam and a couple of the original OG moderators, Corey and Goose. And
when you say Sam, is Sam Tisdale or another Sam? Okay.
So Sam that hosts the office hours, he was the original moderator. Okay. Yeah, we became instant friends, and I just loved the community. I was playing around with Emergent, but they were pretty new at the time, and then Lovable and Replit and Bolt, Base. I mean, it was pretty comparable, but the community is what sold me. And then seeing John, he was just constantly just rolling out new features, and he was listening to the community. I was like, all right, this is where I'm gonna stay for a while. And then, it just blew up. Just me working and giving away free information, helping people, fix things in their apps, and I was like, I can make a living doing this. And then, now here we are. And then one day this guy decides to be a moderator. I'm in the same boat as Charles, like, what? Why was that a good idea? Okay, I'll respect the rules and play along and be a nice guy. And then now I'm growing out my beard, and I get to sit around and put my pajamas and wear hoodies and
helping
my
people,
kids all day long. Yeah, it's the dream.
But I saw you guys. I go to Discord channel just to sometimes to see what is happening in the world, and I saw you, all of you, like samurais, answering everything with patience and with good vibe. That it's difficult in this time. Sam, you have some question for Master Will?
I do have some questions. The first one is going to be sort of a dual one for Monica and Drake. Just working directly with Base 44 and Wix. What has been the hardest aspect of working for such a fast-growing company like Base 44?
I can definitely take it from. I was like, so I think it kind of also, you have to think about what avenues Monica and I both operate out of. So as a technical solution specialist, it's about fixing issues on the apps. So when you do have a company that is growing at such a rapid rate, and every day is the moon race in AI. So Base 44, you see it in the Discord every week. 2 new feature updates. 1 week, 5 new feature updates. And sometimes it's a lot of stuff for me to try to process. Sometimes these updates come out and I'm like, I was still trying to figure out the one 3 times ago.
Can I say something about that? Just a quick sorry.
Yeah.
You think that it's okay that don't even pass a week and have another feature, and I know, it will be nice also to enjoy a little bit the feature. Now the button is here, 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 now. So, you think that should take a little bit more time for enjoying the feature?
I would boldly say if you're waiting to push out these features, you're going to fall behind. Because if you wait, we're giving Lovable an opportunity to go ahead of us. We're giving Riplet an opportunity to get ahead of us. So I say build every day and push as soon as you can. Where AI is such a volatile field where things are going to crash. I mean, not every rollout's going to be 100% perfect.
Yesterday was a topic, no? That's why I asked you this, because
so I mean, we had multiple outages yesterday, and it is days like that where, from my experience, those are the hard things. When you are moving so fast, it can be difficult to keep up, and all of a sudden you're like I said, you're a week behind on the information, like actually having like an article to be like, yes, this is it, A to Z. So a lot of it is learning it on the fly, but I think that's where you have to, you have to be in the trenches. You have to be willing to get your hands dirty and have to actually be able to go and say, I'm going to go look at these apps. I'm going to go figure it out, even though there is no technical documentation for it all, at least available to me yet. So resources. So, a lot of my developers for Base 44 are in Tel Aviv. So that means that if issues happen, I have to be on at 6 a.m. my time to be able to even shoot one message to them and get a response. But yeah, I'd say like, that's probably like one of the biggest humps is just with such fast growing things, just having to be able to keep up with the technical side of it and feature updates and, what new problems arise when those features and those products get rolled out.
Totally. Thank you. I really appreciate that insight. I want to roll over into Monica. Just the same question.
Yeah, so how is it working at a company moving so fast? Is that the question?
Yes.
Basically.
What is the hardest aspect to you about that?
Yeah, with anything that moves so quickly, it can be challenging to do your best work because you are moving so fast and there isn't necessarily that time to really do like a full retro on what went well, what went poorly, how can we improve for next time, because you're already jumping into the next thing. So that's something I'm very cautious about, and making sure that I am building myself like the mental systems and the protocols so that I don't fall into that trap of just doing things for the sake of doing things. I think it's really easy to get caught up in that because you're so energized by how fast things are going. It's easy to let quality slip, especially when, there's, we have goals to hit, we have metrics to hit, and but I think it's, on my end, from what I've experienced in my 31 days, Base is looking for good work, so there is like that understanding of, okay, it might take a little more time, but let's make sure what we're doing is good.
Well, thank you.
I want to put a real case. Let's talk, because I'm with the samurais, senseis, I need to pass to a topic that one of my software engineers friends, a little bit skeptics of AI, talked to me, and I said, it's a good question, I'm going to say to them. What's happened if you imagine this, Sam with his the event app that he have, the Mr. Beast example, Mr. Beast say and reshare the event, and Sam goes I believe not. Some have the elite plan with 50,000 integrations, 1,200 credits. So he goes, yeah, my event with Mr. Beat was amazing, blah, blah. Mr. Beat's here, we share it. Sam goes to pick his kids from the school, and suddenly have 1 million users using his app and using his integrations and everything. What's happened? The app is gonna crash. Sam need to pay more immediately. Who need to call Sam immediately? Hey, I'm 1 million people. What's happened in that case? Everybody, feel free to.
Yeah. So, depending on how much you know about using integration credits, it obviously depends on, what's fully being used on the app. Is this app allowing people to generate images, generate videos?
Yeah, imagine that have three super agents and have three IPs.
So let's go in then with the idea that it's just going to totally drain it. Let's say just for example.
1 million people. Pa, 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 pa.
So your app doesn't just crash, but things that are triggered by automation or like things that are triggered by integration credits, those will halt. That's just to call it what it is. Ultimately, though, if that is the case where we just saw an influx of 1 million users go to a site, we're probably going to try to get in contact with you. We do have.
It's fixable.
It's fixable. It's fixable for sure.
And how much cost is that? It's expensive.
So that's kind of where I'll bridge to. So a lot of people would consider like, oh, you have the starter, builder, pro, elite, and then you have elite 1 through 9. Some people don't even know that we offer an enterprise plan. So that is for the people who are going to have apps with millions and millions of users.
It's possible, no?
It's possible. So with that, you're going to talk with one of our people on our enterprise team. They're going to do, these are the people like that you talk to essentially like sales. You're going to get the demo. They're going to ask you how many you're expecting for your apps. How many apps are you needing? How many people are in your corporation? And then with that, we're going to make you a customized plan. So if that means that, hey, you think that you're going to have 6 million users? Cool, let's set you up with a plan that gets you maybe 12 million integration credits. So there is a plan in place when stuff like that happens. It's you just try to talk with our enterprise team, and I will say if you all of a sudden have 1 million users within the span of a day, we're probably going to come find you.
Yeah, and it's a thing that is fixable. If you have 1 million users using your app per month, you're gonna win money to pay what they charge you. No, it's a logical.
Yeah, I'll be honest and say I'm the last person to know exactly how much it costs for a scale of that size. But yeah, we're obviously gonna have to take into account how much credits those are burning through, and then that plays into what your enterprise plan is.
So it's fixable, my friends. It's fixable.
Yeah, and what's really cool is their enterprise team, they have the ability to look into your account. Even Drake's helped me with this because I had an issue with integration credits to like show you like, okay, on a monthly average, this is what the integration credits you're going to be using beforehand, and you're expecting that 1 million or 2 million users coming on. So they can go and, okay, well, on a normal basis, this is how many users you get, this is how many credits you're burning. So for 2 million users potential, you always want to go over what you expect. Yeah, so if the potential is 2 million, we're going to recommend X amount of integration credits to be able to handle this load. So they have those abilities to do that. That's pretty cool. They have some pretty cool tools.
So going kind of off of that, I'm curious because I've kind of fallen into a trap at times with several of my applications, and I love how now there's the ability to see the message and integration credit usage across the apps. What are some tips and tricks that any of you can give in terms of maximizing and or not allowing the system to drain said integration credits? Because I've noticed at times, and I know how to fix it now, but for the masses, if that ever were to happen, what is your best fix for that?
Yeah, I'll take this one. So just because you're using AI in your vibe coding stuff does not mean that the AI understands software architecting to a T, right? So when we build anything, long before vibe coding, you have to have a lot of checks and balances, right? And that is what I have learned is the best way to prevent that situation where it just goes nuts is, right, sometimes you have to most of the times you have to explicitly tell the LLM, right, the base 44 LLM, hey, prevent the button from being clicked 40 million times, right? On app submission or on click, add a loader, right? Let it load, let it process, and then remove the button if you only anticipate one submission at a time. I got into an issue with that same thing where somehow a bot got on my website and was constantly submitting contact forms over and over and over again, which was draining integration credits, which was crazy to me. So you really have to add stop gates yourself, and you have to articulate and think through that flow. And this is where I say, this is where a lot of your mom and pops really struggle using vibe coding because they don't even know that needs to happen. They just assume that stuff happens, but you need to add checks and balances and stop gates at especially if you're playing with integration credits, 100%. So if, let's say you have a chat bot in your app, right, and you're allowing users to ask questions about your app, limit that to 10 questions, right? Don't give them the free will to just fire off as many questions as they want, because you're going to wake up one morning and you're going to see all your integration credits are gone because some robot at Google, combed your site and tested out that form and fired it off 1 million times.
Good to know. Thank you. Yeah. That's definitely something I'm going to dig deeper into because it's one of those things. And I think a lot of people will run into it. And I think, failure is good to some extent because you learn from those failures or mistakes. Does anybody else have any other insight on that from a different perspective? I think, Charles, that was spot on, and that's exactly where I've been trying to fix some things. But in terms of like words or phrases, like I forget who said it a while ago in Discord, but in terms of like using batch processing or pagination or throttling or things like that, what are some other tips and tricks that you all use or know of to help this?
Well, one of the things that I like to do is because, once you've built the app and you start running in through it and and the credits are moving, you don't know what you don't know. So when I build an app out, I have it go through a integration optimization audit. Basically, I want to know every function, any kind of interaction that's going to eat up an integration. I need to know what those are, and then I'm going to find ways to optimize it. Whether I can move them, I can convert them into the same function file or something like that. So, like a good example was a guy that reached out to me on Facebook. He had burnt through like 7,000 credits in 3 days, and it was just him testing his app, and there was no reason for that to be going on. So I go in, we look at it. Most of that was eaten up by his AI automations that he always had running. Every 15 minutes there was an automation running, checking to see if somebody purchased. He had a bidding website. So I was showing him, how he can do things to get around that, where you don't have to have that running every 15 minutes. Make it event-based, so when someone clicks the order buy, then it triggers the automation instead of the automation running all the time. So I would say automation audits. I mean, I have a prompt that I can give you guys, so that you guys, if you need it, just message me on Discord. I'll give it to you, and so that you can go through it and fix any problems. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to give some insights.
Yeah, what Will's referencing is AI agents will always initiate what's called pooling, and they pool and they fire off every so often, right? So if you're just like, hey, check my website, every day, it assumes every 15 minutes and it pools the data. So it tries to fetch it constantly every 15 minutes. They will always default to that. So always make sure whenever you're prompting any kind of AI automation that runs through your app, do not let it pool unless that's really what you want. If you want to burn thousands of credits a day, have at it. Some people need that, but always make it event driven, not pooling.
Thank you, Charles.
Thank you.
Monica, I have a question for you about the community. Now we are almost finishing the half of the process of the first founding ambassadors of VibeCoders. My question, if you are allowed to say it, is gonna be a next 66 ambassadors soon? It's gonna be the cohort number 2. You are planning that. It's secret information. The people that it's hearing can be feeling, oh, I wanna be the next generation. You can tell us something about that?
Yeah. Nothing's set in stone, but we definitely will open another round for a cohort. I think we've learned a lot. I've learned a lot about how the program is running in the past 31 days. And I'm excited to see, make whatever refinements we're going to make and take it from there. Again, really, I don't have answers to those questions. We haven't decided yet. But I do know that I want to, keep championing those who are participating and who are really in it and doing great work. And yeah, we'll just go from there.
So, listeners, maybe you are in the next cohort of ambassadors.
Exactly.
Okay, I have another question, a technical question for you, my friends. So now that you guys are from the old school and the new school of this code area, if tomorrow Coca-Cola came, one of the brands that one airport say, hey, can you make me my software page? You're gonna go to your Python old school programs, or you're gonna go with the vibe coding, or what do you say about, oh, this is a huge project. I'm gonna use my old school tools, or I'm gonna use my new school tools?
I would probably say, regardless of what I would do, most of those major companies will not work with a vibe coding platform. That doesn't mean we can't start on Base 44, right, and flesh out the UI, the front end, the user experience, and then take that and move it off of AI, because any major enterprise company, they're already going to have their own backends. They're already going to have their own services, right? You're really not reinventing the wheel there. But what they're probably asking is they want a new UI or UX, right? User experience, user implementation, right? So that's the limit that I would do any major massive enterprise, is just the front end. And then I would move it off of Base 44 and host it on their servers, because that's what they're going to require.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think what we'll probably see is their current systems are going to stay the way they are. They may internally use something like what Charles's company is using to bring AI into the loop, but future development, I can see them going to platforms like Base 44. Okay, we're doing an event for the Super Bowl. We need a Super Bowl page created. We can put it up like that and get it ready. So that's where the speed becomes quality for stuff like that, because traditionally they would have to hire an agency like me, or they would use in-house, and normally they go out-house. They would hire outsource it, and building a website can take 3 or 4 months, even more than that. So
at least
you come to and you go to Base, bam, you got a website.
Eventually, in the time, the vibe coding is gonna be maybe strong for that platforms, obviously, like in some point of time, the vibe coding is gonna be the way to make the softwares, or not?
No. Even if it's crazy powerful, you have to, let's use Spectrum, where I work at, for instance, right? We have 4 million lines, and probably more now, of code, massive amounts of infrastructure around. There is no way they're ever going to be like, okay, let's move this massive architecture worth hundreds of millions of dollars to a vibe coding platform. That's never going to happen. Now, what Will said is very true, right? I now use Kiro at work, and Kiro is Claude, and Claude can vibe code anything you want. That's what you're doing at Base 44, right? So in the sense, they are vibe coding things, right? Us professional developers are vibe coding by talking to Kiro or which is just Opus 4.8. So things are spinning up, but you're never going to get anything to go 100% to like a base 44 platform. That's never going to happen.
Okay, it's good.
That's a good point. That's a good point. I just have a quick kind of comment question for Will, Monica, Charles-Drake. I don't know if Jordi and I have ever kind of done it, but do you guys have any questions for us? Since we aren't moderators, we don't work for Base 44. Do you guys have any questions or feedback from us in this kind of open forum?
Yeah, so I actually do. Well, Monica first. She's the official.
Okay. I would just love to hear about your experience, from the community background, trying to create connections amongst builders. I'd love to hear what your experience working with other builders has been like, whether it be in Discord or through the Ambassador program, and just like how, like, your feelings on feeling connected.
Mm-hmm. You can start, Sam.
Okay. I mean, I'm just an introverted person. It's been hard for me to kind of get out of my shell and push myself. I mean, before December of this last year, I wasn't posting at all. I wasn't really doing a whole lot of connecting. But I mean, since I've applied and become part of the ambassador team, I mean, and just with Base 44 in general, and really telling myself that, well, not only do I want to, but I have to keep pushing myself and grow. I mean, the amount of connections and growth I've done internally and externally have been amazing. The connections I've made internally, not only in the Discord, but through the ambassadorship have been, I mean, incredible. Jordi and I, we would have never otherwise, gotten connected. But I came on to one of his events when somebody else couldn't attend. We hit it off, and I mean, now we're doing this podcast. Kate and I, another ambassador who was on the first show, we just started talking just about events, just in general one day. And we started to figure out that we have a lot more in common that I even knew. And we started building another event, kind of more so like a music-focused app. But even aside from that, the camaraderie that I've been able to accomplish and find has been outstanding. I mean, there isn't a time that, at least for myself, or that I've seen within the Discord, that any one of us can ask a question and one of the ambassadors or one of the mods doesn't jump in automatically and is super kind, is willing to take the time to help us. I mean, Will took the time out of his day to jump on a call with me last week or the week before to walk me through some marketing feedback on one of my applications, and I can't tell you how much that helped me. And just, I mean, going to even look into Base 44 changelog wasn't even something that I even thought to do. That's where he taught me about adding in like a AI generated video. I even told Jordi about that later that day, and he's like, "What? You can do that?" I'm like, "Yeah, Will just taught me that." And so, I mean, it's just been awesome. So that's kind of my 2 cents. Jordi, do you have anything?
No, for me it's amazing. Now in my present, I'm speaking with the best guys in the world, the moderators of Base 44. I don't feel alone that I was getting crazy, that I didn't make a PowerPoint before. I came from the entrepreneurship world, that all my ideas, I need a designer, I need a programmer, I need marketing, and now I can do everything by myself with my hands. I feel like I'm reborn. I was like, yeah, I have ideas, but all my ideas cost a lot of money, and I don't even know if my ideas is a good idea. Now I can make my ideas, prove it, and this is good idea, this is for me, this is for my family, I am making everything. everything. Like I am hearing the classical music from London that I make my radio from all around the world. I'm having very fun. I love you guys. Some of the people are strange, like always in the world. But from all the 66, I take a lot of good friends. I think that it's very good that I'm from Mexico, people from UK, from USA, from Argentina, from Singapore, we are in the same kind of vibe. That's why I think it's vibe coding, and the vibe coding is the field. But yes, I'm very happy. I think that if more of us connect, our business can grow, our teaching schools can grow. So we have 10 minutes to finish this. The time was fast, and maybe another time we can make a part 2 with you guys. I love it. I want to hear from all of you that this is part of our podcast. An advice that you want to share with the listeners, with us, like a simple advice in this vibe coding world. We start with Will, Ray, Charles, Monica. Sam, what is your advice for the people?
Yeah, so one of the things that when I really got into this and started making this like a career of mine, was I saw a need where, vibe coders being inside of the community and helping people out where they were using the AI conversational way to build things. So now those users are learning that it's more about prompt engineering. So before you got an idea, before you just start coming here like, hey, I have an idea, I want to build whatever it is. Sit down a little bit, go to like ChatGPT. The easiest method to do is go to ChatGPT, just have a conversation. This is what I want to build. And just have that conversation, and once you are happy with what it has come up with, tell it to generate a series of prompts for you, and that way you're dropping very targeted and target's the right word, targeted prompts down, so that way when it's built, you have the framework, then you can just start customizing the look and feel and tweaking things here and there, because a lot of people get stuck in this loop of, I'm chasing this bug over and over and over again. And then we deal with this every day on Reddit, Facebook, in Discord. But the problem is either you have the wrong AI model selected, or that you needed to put in some custom AI instructions to prevent it from editing files that you didn't give permission to do it. But mainly it comes down to you did not provide a structured prompting series to actually build the foundation that you need to turn it into the application that you want. So that's my number one tip with everybody that I meet.
Love it. Drake?
Yeah, so a lot of people in the vibe coding world, and you'll see it on X a lot, where people say, always be building. It's a very common phrase. I take a different approach to that a little bit, and I changed it to always be learning. So I used to use this phrase when I was at the gym, but leave your ego at the door. You don't want to go into the gym, have this big-headed ego, go lift weights that you can't do, and it just falls right back onto you. Then you're going to get injured. You're not going to want to go back to the gym. I view that the same way that I view vibe coding, and I view the community with Base 44. Even though I work for the company, I work on hundreds of apps a day. I see every bug under the sun that comes in. I see every single error code. I can still admit to this day that there's things that Charles, Sam, Jordi, Monica, Will, there is probably something that you guys all know way more than me on a particular subject. So I think that if you're willing to leave your ego at the door, say, hey, I'm not going to be the expert at every single little thing, and be willing to ask those people questions. A lot of people will be like, oh, I feel stupid asking this question. Yeah, put that at the door, because if you're not willing to ask those questions,
there are no stupid questions, no?
Yeah, exactly. I truly believe that there are no stupid questions. I think that when you start asking and you become inquisitive about learning, that's when you're going to be really the strongest vibe coder in the room.
Love it. Charles?
Yeah, so they kind of stole my ideas, jerks. But I would say the same thing. Pretty much always learn. And I would take it one step further. Try to learn the fundamentals of basic software engineering, right? That can get you a long way. If you just understand and learn the flow of an application, how it works, a user clicks a button, what is actually happening when they click that button, you can start to understand the certain prompts you need to get the results you want, right? Yeah, you can make a super generic prompt and keep prompting it and, spin your wheels. But if you just spend a little bit of time learning what LLMs are, how to manipulate them, what is software engineering, what are the basics of building an application, I think that will go a long way for most of the users that are using vibe coding.
Thank you.
Yeah, exactly. Monica, what is your advice?
Yeah, it's not technical.
Perfect, love it.
But again, in the same spirit of there's no stupid questions, just to really lean on the people around you. People do want to help, and there's so much opportunity for collaboration and friendship and things like that, even though this is a digital platform and a lot of the interactions are just happening through chat. I think it's still an amazing opportunity to connect with other people and kind of in this crazy world of AI, and there's so much fear around it, but really maintaining that human element, because even though you're building with AI, even though we're AI optimists and we're pro AI, making sure that we're still encouraging each other to be human and remain human and connect with each other, because that's what it's all about.
The AI have good things and bad things. Let's take the good things from the AI. Let's hope the bad things goes.
And let's remember that we're all people. Just like normal online etiquette, things like that.
And it's technology. The technology moves. Like before, I remember the newspaper say, "Oh no, the internet is not gonna." And now, everybody. And I remember Blockbuster. Always I make these examples. No, nobody's gonna stream movies, and now everybody's streaming everything. So. It's gonna and the CDs and MP3 and LPs and everything, telephones. So before closing this, Sam, I want to really hear your expertise and your advice again, and close this episode 3 of the VibeCoders. That was amazing. The time goes like what? So
Most definitely. Just my piece of advice. Is just don't give up. It can be so easy in this day and age, especially with, how powerful Base 44 is in AI, to want to make an idea, get stuck on something, give up, and want to go to something else. If you really have passion, gumption, and drive, don't give up. There is always a way. That's something that I try and use and think about every day. Is the best ideas are going to be the hardest, and if something is hard, it's worth trying. So just keep trying, don't give up. If you have any questions, reach out. None of us are scary people. We are all here to help in one way, shape, or another. But again, thank you all for joining in today. This was an amazing podcast. Will, Drake, Charles, Monica, and of course, Jordi. This was such a ride, and thank you all so much. I hope that you all have an amazing, beautiful day.
yeah, guys, we love you. Thank you very much, and see you soon. I love you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Much
Bye.
love.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Thank you.